Hey, this is Mr. Hall. I'm going to talk a little bit about order of operations. One of the first things that we teach the students to help them with order of operations is Pemdas. It's a real quick, easy way for them to know in what order to do each type of math. So first we start with P for parentheses. Then we have E for exponents, something to something power. M for multiply, D for divide, A for add, and S for subtract. Now, one of the most confusing things for students is to know that multiply and divide don't have to be in that order. I actually group them and tell them it's like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Multiply and divide is like peanut butter and jelly, and it doesn't matter which side of the bread you put it on, it tastes the same. Okay, the same thing with add and subtract. When you're doing a problem, if divide comes first, you do it first. You don't do multiply then divide. It just depends on what order they show up in your equation. You start with whichever one you see first. Same with add and subtract. So first parentheses, then exponents, then either multiply or divide, whichever you see first, then either add or subtract, or whichever you see first. Okay. Another way to remember this that a lot of students will know is please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. All right, let's put it to a test to get it started. Here's the first equation I've thrown in here. I chose this one because I have a little bit of each. So to start with, we start at the beginning. And what I do with my students, I actually have them write it out above it so they can follow along as they go. First I go parentheses. Do you see any parentheses? Yes, we see these parentheses. So you do what's in the parentheses. 2 plus 2 is 4. Then I cross off the P because I'm done. And I rewrite the problem with what I already know so I can see that I've already taken care of that first part. And now the answer. Okay. Then exponents. Yes, there's an exponent. 3 to the second power. That's the same as 3 times 3, which equals 9. So then I rewrite it 9 plus 7 times 4. And I cross out my E because I took care of my exponents. Next I have multiply and divide. Doesn't matter which one comes first. I start at the beginning and work my way through. I have multiply, so I'm going to do 7 times 4. 7 times 4 is 28. Then I rewrite it 9 plus 28. There's no divide, so I've taken care of that part. Then I have add and subtract. Doesn't matter which comes first, subtract or add. So I start with 9 plus 28. I finish that up, and my answer is 37. Okay, so it's pretty much a step-by-step, almost a checklist. You check them off as you go. If there's not one in there, you just skip it and go to the next one. And just remember the biggest thing, that multiply and divide are a group, so it doesn't matter which one comes first. Here's an example that your students may see. First of all, like I always say, I like to start out by writing Pemdas up top. You don't have to, but it's always a good way to work your way through. Parentheses, do I see parentheses? Yes. 32 minus 20 equals 12. So I took care of my parentheses. 12 divided by 4. All I did was rewrite it below. 12 divided by 4. 12 goes into 4 3 times, and that's my answer. Okay, multiply and divide was the next step, and I took care of the divide part. There was no multiply, and there's no add and subtract, so I just skipped those. All right, here's another one that students may see. Write my Pemdas. Then I start at the beginning. I have parentheses. 2 plus 6 equals 8. Then I rewrite my problem. 16 divided by 8. I took care of my parentheses. There's no exponents, so I move on. Multiply and divide. There's divide, so I'm going to start with that one. 16 divided by 8. It's the same as saying 8 times what equals 16, and the answer is 2. My answer for that one is 2. They're pretty simple for the students to start with. All right, for this next one, it gets a little tricky. They're going to give the students a problem like this. Then they get them a set of parentheses, and they have to choose where those parentheses go to make that equal 11. So depending on where they choose to put them, they'll get 11. 3 times 4 is 12, minus 1 is 11, plus 2 is 13. So the problem alone gives you 13. Okay? So what I recommend is even just messing around to see what happens. First you would do parentheses, that's 3. if you did the 1 and 2. 3. Then we have multiply and divide, so 3 times 4 is 12 minus 3. 12 minus 3 is 9, so that one wouldn't work. So we'd actually have to go back. We're going to choose a different spot to put our parentheses. Oops. So this time, let's put it right here in the middle. Let's try solving it this time. So first, parentheses, p, 4 minus 1 is 3. No exponents. Multiply and divide, 3 times 3 is 9, plus 2 equals 11. So we know the parentheses in this, to make it equal 11, you'd have to put the 4 minus 1 to get it. So the answer for number 9 on their homework is going to be 4 minus 1, the parentheses around there. Hopefully this helps. Thanks for watching.